Hello, and welcome to another episode of Just Jesus. This morning, I want to call our attention just for a few minutes to a passage of scripture recorded in Luke chapter 4, where Jesus is in the synagogue on the Sabbath and he walks in and asks for the scroll of Isaiah, and he turns over and he reads this passage from Isaiah. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. Then he rolls up the scroll, gives it back to the attendant, and he sits down and he looks at the people who were gathered there in the synagogue and he says to them, "Today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." Among the many marvelous things that I am in amazement about Jesus, this is one of them, and that is that he knew his mission. He knew what he was supposed to do with his life, and he didn't let anything get in the way of that. You may remember when he was telling his apostles that he was going to be killed, but would be raised again. Peter takes him aside and begins to tell him that that's not going to happen to him. And Jesus rebukes Peter. And what he said to Peter was, "Peter, you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but you're setting your mind on the things of man." Jesus was single-mindedly focused in pursuit of doing God's will. He put aside what he wanted to do and put on himself what God wanted him to do. And it's this way all year round, but for some reason it seems to get even worse around the holidays, if you will, and that is the demand on one's time. There's the demand to have a holiday party or to always keep the house clean in case guests stop by. Everything has to be perfect. You have to buy gifts for a bunch of people and just on and on and on. And there's just all these demands. And we're pulled in many different directions. And sometimes we get distracted and we think things are important that really aren't all that important. And sometimes we think things are urgent when they're not as urgent as we think they should be. And we get pulled away from doing what is important. Jesus didn't. Yes, he was pulled in a lot of different directions, but he never gave in to the temptation to do those things that were urgent but not important. His single-minded focus on doing what God wanted him to do is something that I wish I could emulate. So, not just this time, but all the time, when things happen, when people come up and ask you to do something, when they ask for a piece of you, when they ask for some of your time, think about whether or not it fulfills the purpose that God has given you. And figure out a way to be single-mindedly focused on pursuing the will of God. Well, I pray that you'll have a great day.